What's going on, Ohio Cannabis Report family? Gerald Moore Jr. checking in. I want to thank everybody who's been supporting the channel, who's been supporting us on Instagram, who's been supporting us on all other platforms, Facebook, TikTok. I'm trying to get everywhere, as many places as possible. So please type in Ohio Cannabis Report and we should pop up. We're Ohio Cannabis Report on YouTube, and we also have another channel, The Ohio Cannabis Report. That's me as well. That was some past projects that we worked on and interviews. Still great content over there that I haven't quite migrated over to this channel yet. But if you have the chance and you want to, please go check out some of those interviews and conversations. We had conversations with State Representative Juanita Brent, Casey Weinstein. I still have a bunch of representatives that I want to interview. Who else did we interview? Some cannabis industry workers, Dr. Bridget. We had Black folks in cannabis. And so a lot more stuff is coming down the pike. So please tap in, make sure you're following us so you won't miss any of the updates. Today, I'm just going to share some news. We do have something coming up this week in the Ohio State House, tomorrow, actually. And so I want to bring that up real quick. Let me share my screen here. And please, again, hit the notification bell so you know anytime we're live or new videos drop. Please like our videos. If you like the type of content that I'm putting out there, please like it. Please comment. Please share. If you don't like it, please interact with me and let me know in the comments what you like, what you don't like, what you want me to spend more time on, X, Y, Z. I try to, do a mixture of content. Again, it's internet, social media. Cannabis is still federally illegal. So, I don't like to go too crazy in terms of like having flower and talking about product. But, at the end of the day, this is all for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm in a legal state. Ohio is medically legal and recreational. And so, again, that is what I live by. Let me see y'all share screen. And so, again, I'm of age. I'm 35 years old. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a nonprofit president, entrepreneur, active community member. So, I have a medical cannabis card from a medical cannabis doctor. So, all right, wanted to share this. So, House Bill 160 is the one that's trying to change the current cannabis legislation. So tomorrow, April 30th, 2025 is the second hearing. So let's go ahead and download that. And so this is basically what HB 60 is. This is why a lot of people don't get involved in politics, is because it's a lot of this, right? Reading, understanding what's going on in the policy and the laws. Give me 1 second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that little brief break right there. Hold on, we gotta share something else. We gotta share the other screen. All right, this is what I was talking about. Y'all weren't able to see, but this is why a lot of people don't get involved in politics, because this is the bill. This is what it looks like, right? So to amend sections 9.79, so you gotta go and find like blah 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 blah. You gotta find all of this, and then you come down to the bottom and a revised code to revise specified provisions of the liquor control, hemp, and adult use marijuana laws, and to levy taxes on marijuana. See that? This is how they get you to levy the taxes. They want to use the taxes on marijuana for their purposes. All right. Sections. Blah, 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 blah. Section 9. Where is the See, I want to see. Let me see if I can find the actual schedule. I'm gonna step that one, present the other screen. Here's the summary. So here's a summary. This breaks down, basically everything: revised liquor control and hemp adult use marijuana liquor program. Here's the long title. This shows you it's when it was introduced. Subjects: commerce, crimes, corrections, and law enforcement, employment, unemployment, marijuana, cannabis, and hemp, marijuana, cannabis, and hemp, and marijuana cultivators, marijuana, cannabis, and hemp, and marijuana dispensaries, marijuana, cannabis, and hemp, medical marijuana, taxation, House Judiciary Committee. Sorry, guys, it's allergy season, and I'm in Ohio, and my allergies are going crazy. Legislation text. Okay, that's what we just looked at. What's this introduction? Let's see. Yeah, that's what we want to see. I'll go ahead and switch all over. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to find the information that I want to share with you all. Legislature. All right. So, a summary: repeals the cannabis control law and combines regulations concerning the cultivation, processing, dispensing, use, and home grow of adult use and medical marijuana into one chapter, referred to in this analysis as the Marijuana Control Law. Condenses the operations of the Division of Cannabis Control, DCC, and the Division of Marijuana Control, DMC, into the DMC. Product regulations: prohibits possession or use of marijuana that is not acquired from a licensed Ohio dispensary or cultivated at an adult use consumer primary residence in accordance with the marijuana control law. Okay, let me take a All right, I'm gonna just stay off camera real quick. Eliminates DMC's authority to approve new forms of adult use marijuana, prohibits adult use or medical marijuana that is attractive to children or bears the likeness or characteristics of a realistic or fictional human, animal, or fruit, reduces allowable THC levels in adult use marijuana extracts from a maximum of 90% or more to a maximum of 70%. Excuse me. Eliminates DMC's authority to adjust or eliminate the THC limits, prohibits a licensed dispensary from dispensing or selling more adult use marijuana than can be legally possessed to the same adult use consumer in the same day, requires adult use marijuana products to be packaged and labeled with a certain information and warnings, adds pre-rolled marijuana products as an allowable form of adult use marijuana, home grow, prohibits transfer of homegrown or adult use marijuana by unlicensed persons with or without remuneration. Remuneration. I don't know. Prohibits cultivating homegrown marijuana at a child care home, halfway house, or a residential premises occupied pursuant to a rental agreement that prohibits home grow. Prohibits cultivating, growing, or processing homegrown marijuana on behalf of another person. Adult use consumers specifies that the possession limits do not apply to seed, live plants, or clones being cultivated, grown, or possessed in accordance with the home grow law. requires adult use and homegrown marijuana and marijuana paraphernalia to be transported in the trunk or behind the back row of seats in a place not easily accessible to the driver. Specifies that the smoking, combustion, and vaporization of adult use and homegrown marijuana and vaporization of medical marijuana is prohibited in a place of public employment, a private residence that is a child care home, and a halfway home or residential premises occupied pursuant to a rental agreement that prohibits such activities. Applies elevated penalties to persons who smoke, combust, or vaporize marijuana in a vehicle, streetcar, trackless trolley, watercraft, or aircraft. Enhances the criminal and administrative penalties to persons who knowingly distribute marijuana to a person under 21 of age. Licensing combines the adult use and medical marijuana licenses and requires licensed cultivators, processors, dispensaries, and laboratories to work with both adult use and medical marijuana. Modifies the eligibility criteria for licensure and requires DMC to rank applicants that meet those criteria using an impartial and evidence-based process according to eligibility, suitability, and ability to operate. Requires DMC, if it uses a lottery system, to issue licenses to assign better odds to applicants that are highly rated under the ranking process. Specifies that 10B licenses issued under the cannabis control law before the bill's effective date are subject to all procedures, requirements, and penalties that apply to the equivalent license under the marijuana control law. Requires DMC to merge equivalent licenses issued to the same person and used at the same location. Eliminates level 3 adult use cultivator licenses. Modifies the setback requirements concerning the locations of dispensaries, cultivators, processors, and laboratories in relations to churches, schools, public libraries, public parks, and public playgrounds. Repeals the prohibition against dispensaries providing samples to adult use marijuana products. Allows DMC to prohibit advertisements that are obscene, contains depictions of marijuana use, or promote marijuana as an intoxicant. Requires DMC rules concerning advertisements of adult use marijuana products to be no less stringent than the most stringent rules or laws regulating tobacco or alcohol sales. Prohibits adult use of medical marijuana products from being marketed using any graphic picture or drawing that bears any resemblance to cartoon characters or popular figures whose target audience is children or youth. Cultivators, processors, dispensaries. Requires DMC to issue two types of cultivation licenses: a level 1 license that authorizes a cultivation area up to 100,000 square feet, and a level 2 license that authorizes a cultivation area of up to 15,000 square feet. Allows DMC to expand the cultivation area of a license holder that was not allotted the maximum cultivation area so long as the total cultivation area does not exceed that maximum square footage. Repeals the prohibition against issuing more than one cultivator or processing license to the same person. Specifies the dispensaries can only accept government-issued identification as a proof of the identity of a registered patient or caregiver or of the age of the adult use consumer. Requires marijuana dispensaries to ensure a sufficient supply of medical marijuana products. Allows DMC to revoke a provisional dispensary license if the license holder does not obtain a certificate of operation within 18 months. Caps the number of active dispensaries at 350. Repeals the prohibition against issuing more than 8 dispensary licenses to the same person. Requires DMC to issue dispensary licenses in a way that prevents oversaturation and to refrain from issuing a license for a facility that is within 1/2 mile of another dispensary. Prohibits DMC from issuing a license or approving a relocation to a location or facility from which a permit to sell beer or intoxicating liquor has been issued. Prohibits transferring a provisional license. Employment with a license holder. Eliminates the requirement that a person seeking employment with the adult use marijuana business obtain a license from DMC. Requires such a person to complete the same background check required for employees of medical marijuana businesses under current law. Administration eliminates DMC authority to adopt rules concerning mobile ordering, delivery, technical standards for security and surveillance equipment, temporary and provisional licenses, changes in ownership or control of marijuana businesses, and educating the public about marijuana. Specifies the rules adopted under the cannabis control law before the bill's effective date remain in effect until repealed or amended by DMC. Authorizes the Legislative Service Commission to renumber rules adopted under the cannabis control law to account for the consolidation sorry, I had to take a quick break. Where was that? Specify the rules pending. Specifies the rules pending before the Common Sense Initiative or the Joint Committee on Agency Rule Review on the bill's effect date are considered to be proposed under the marijuana control law, exempts DMC rules from continuing law recruitments concerning reduction or regulatory restrictions for 12 months following the bill's effective date, allows the Ohio Investigative Unit, OIU, within the Department of Public Safety to assist DMC in enforcing the marijuana control law, modifies the criminal penalties imposed on persons who violate the marijuana control laws, Cannabis Social Equity and Jobs Program, repeals the Cannabis Social Equity and Jobs Program, which would have provided financial assistance and license application support to individuals adversely impacted by the enforcement of marijuana-related laws. And this is why I'm against this. Not the only reason, but the main reason. Local government authority expands local government authority to prohibit or limit the number of licensed marijuana cultivators, processors, dispensaries, or testing laboratories. Employment specifies that a person who is discharged from employment for using marijuana is not eligible to serve a waiting period or be paid unemployment benefits for the duration of the person's unemployment. Adult use marijuana excise tax modifies how revenue from the 10% tax of adult use marijuana is created by a dedicated 20% of the revenue to make temporary payments to dispensary welcoming municipalities and townships and redirecting the rest to the GRF, the General Revenue Fund. Extends the tax to the sale of any marijuana by an unlicensed seller to a consumer. Current agricultural use valuation makes land use to cultivate adult use marijuana ineligible to be valued for property tax purposes as other agricultural land pursuant to its current agricultural use value. Expungement of prior marijuana possession offenses. My charger real quick. My bad, I gotta my charger in before the computer die on me. Got me sad. All right, there we go. Expungement of prior marijuana possession offenses. Permit a person who, prior to the bill's effective date, was convicted of or pled guilty to a marijuana possession offense involving an amount of marijuana that is now legal to possess to apply to the sentencing court to have the record or their conviction or guilty plea expunged. Specifies that unless indignant, the applicant must pay a filing fee of $50, with $30 of that fee designated to go to the state treasury and $20 to go to the county general revenue fund. Requires the court that receives an application or expungement under the bill to set a date for a hearing and notify the prosecutor of the hearing and permits the prosecutors to file an objection. Requires the court at the hearing to determine whether the applicant has prior to the bill's effective date been convicted of or pleading guilty to a marijuana possession offense involving an amount of marijuana that is now legal and to possess, and that if the prosecutor has filed an objection to consider the reasons against granting the application, requires the court to order expungement if the conviction meets eligibility requirements, and if the court orders the expungement, requires the court to send notice of the order to each public office or agency that the court has reason to believe may have an official record pertaining to the case. Hemp with intoxicating properties, reclassifying hemp products that have intoxicating properties as marijuana by narrowing the definition of hemp and hemp product to the hemp law, thus allowing their sale only in licensed marijuana dispensaries, specifically provides that a hemp product does not include a product with a total THC concentration of more than 0.03%, more than 0.5 milligrams of total THC per serving, and more than 2 milligrams of total THC per package. Specifically redefines hemp to refer to the percentage of total THC in a plant 0.3% rather than only delta 9 THC 0.3% as in the current law. Specifies that rules governing hemp must include labeling standards for hemp and hemp products that are consistent with federal laws governing poison prevention packaging standards. So that was just the beginning. You know what I mean? You got to read through all of this. And this is how they get people, especially poor people. You know what I mean? So here's the detailed analysis overview. The bill repeals the cannabis control law, which took effect December 7th, 2023, and merges regulations concerning cultivation, processing, dispensary use, and homegrown or adult use marijuana with those concerning medical marijuana, collectively referred to in this analysis as the marijuana control law. The bill also combines the operations of the Division of Marijuana Control, DMC, which oversees the cultivation, processing, and dispensing of medical marijuana, with the Division of Cannabis Control, DCC, which performs the same functions respecting adult use marijuana. The combined division, which remains in the Department of Commerce, is called DMC. The bill replaces all revised code references to DCC with DMC and all references to the Superintendent of Cannabis Control with the Superintendent of Marijuana Control. The change clarifies that one agency, DMC, oversees the entire marijuana control law, covering both medical marijuana and adult use marijuana. The bill also makes numerous changes concerning the form and potency of adult use marijuana products, home grow, possession, transfer, and transportation of adult use marijuana, smoking, combustion, and vaporization, licensing, administration of enforcement, local government authority, and taxation of marijuana products. Product regulations, scope of legalization. Current law authorizes adults who are at least 21 years of age, adult use consumers, to possess and use adult use cannabis, which is broadly defined to include any part of the cannabis plant. The bill instead legalizes only the possession and use of the following: medical marijuana cultivated, processed, dispensed, and tested for medical purposes in accordance with the marijuana control law; adult use marijuana cultivated, processed, dispensed, and tested in accordance with the marijuana control law; homegrown marijuana cultivated, grown, and processed at the adult use consumer's primary residence in accordance with the marijuana control law. The distinction is that under the bill, it is illegal to use or possess marijuana acquired outside of the confines of the marijuana control law. For example, an adult use consumer may legally possess and use marijuana acquired from an out-of-state dispensary under current law, whereas under the bill, out-of-state marijuana is contraband. For all y'all talking about, oh, just go to Michigan. Just go to Michigan. It's contraband. Similarly, current law allows an adult use consumer to possess or use marijuana received from another adult use consumer without any exchange of payment, whereas the bill prohibits such exchange. Authorized forms. The bill retains all forms of adult use marijuana allowed by current law: seeds, live plants, clones, oils, tinctures, plant material, edibles, patches, extracts, drops, lozenges, smoking or combustible products, vaporization products, beverages, pills, capsules, suppositories, oral pouches, oral strips, oral and topical sprays, salves, lotions, or similar cosmetic products and inhalers. The bill adds pre-rolled products as an authorized form of adult use marijuana. However, the bill eliminates the authority of the DMC to approve additional forms of adult use marijuana. The bill also retains the form of medical marijuana allowed by current law: oils, tinctures, plant material, edibles, and patches. The bill retains the authority of DMC to approve additional forms of medical marijuana. Continuing law prohibits any form of medical marijuana that is considered attractive to children according to the rules adopted by DMC. The bill expands the same prohibition to adult use marijuana. Furthermore, the bill expressly prohibits adult use marijuana or medical marijuana from being dispensed in a form that bears the likeness and characteristics of a realistic or fictional human, animal, or fruit, including artistic, caricature, or cartoon renderings. THC limits. The bill reduces the amount of THC allowed in adult use marijuana plants. Current law, we already talked about that. Limit on amounts dispensed, packaging and labeling, homegrown. So yeah, as y'all can see, it's a lot to go through. I'm not about to read everything. The brief summary at the beginning kind of goes over everything. But here are the details. In the weeds. 39 pages, as you guys can see. Let's see. Advertising, samples, cultivators, cultivation area, packaging and labeling, provisional licensing. So yeah, this is what the state's doing, trying to do. So y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Please tap in. Again, there's a let me see. There's a meeting tomorrow, April 30th. Sorry, I'm just trying to strain session schedule. Okay. So tomorrow at 2. I thought it was 11. Yeah, so that's the House session. It's April 30th. So yeah, tomorrow 2 p.m. the House session. Is there a Senate session? But yeah, and again, just make sure y'all follow us, stay up to date on everything we're doing, everything we got going on. I appreciate all the support, all the follows that we've gotten so far, all the subscribers. I know it's not a lot, and I'm cool with that. Slow and steady wins the race. And again, I've rebuilding this one or starting this one all over. So again, thank you guys for the support. If you like the information, please like, please comment your thoughts. If you're an Ohio resident, please reach out to your state representative, your senators, let them know your story. Email them, call them, show up to the state house. The state house is called the People's House for a reason. All you need, I think, is an ID, to walk in, to walk around. I sometimes walk around just to tour it, just to look at it. So do your work. We all have to uphold our duties, our civic duties. So thank you guys for all the love and support. And I'm going to be tuning out. Peace.